Alafia, Mandala, Bibi Fahudie, it's your favorite warrior, Black Panther, back once again on the Myths Debunked series. Today we're going to cover two topics really quickly. The first claim, Turtle Island. The claim is that African Americans are from this place called Turtle Island and not from Africa. Well, we're going to cover this, and I'm going to tell you a quick story on why that's not true. Turtle Island comes from a story called The Great Turtle. It was first recorded by Europeans in 1678. This is an Iroquois oral story. Now, the Iroquois are a Native American tribe, and they say the earth was once thought of as a great island which floats in space and is a place of eternal peace. A sky woman fell down to earth when it was covered with water, or more specifically, when there was a great cloud sea. Various animals tried to swim to the bottom of the ocean to bring back the dirt to create land. The muskrats succeeded in gathering the earth, which was placed back in the form of a turtle. This earth grew into North America, or into the present planet Earth itself. And the Iroquois say, Hanuna, the turtle, became the earth bearer. Now, this is a Native American story, and although it is allegory, it is describing how they perceived North America or Earth itself to form. This isn't an African story. This has nothing to do with you black folks. This is Native Americans giving you their oral tradition. There is nothing in this story that you can relate to your African experience. Like it or not, you came over here on a boat. Now, the second claim, that Alkebulan is an indigenous name for the continent we now call today Africa. This claim mainly comes from our dear elder and warrior scholar, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, affectionately known as Dr. Ben. And we love Dr. Ben. No way would we ever bang on our elder, Dr. Ben. But in this case, Dr. Ben was mistaken. You see, Alkebulan means the ones before in Arabic. It applies to the original inhabitants of a place before the Arabs arrived. So a lot of places are Alkebulan, not just Africa. In the modern term, people use it for the indigenous people of the land, which are regarded as Arabs, not Africans. Now let's break it down linguistically. It derives from the Arabic root word and adverb qalb, which is Qabl, which means before. The al is a definite article in the Arabic meaning the, and the suffix lan is used to express the plural form of the adverb. So once again, it just means the ones who came before the Arabs. And if you are familiar with the Arab slave trade, the one that lasted nearly 1,300 years, some say 1,400, depending on the source, you will understand why Arabs refer to Africa as Alkebulan. They even had to create another subsection of Africans in DNA tests and science called sub-Saharan Africans because of that slave trade. I hope you learned something today, and as always, Alafia, Amandala, Abibi Fahudie, which is health, power, and African liberation. Peace.
All right, myth number 3. Beethoven was black. Apparently, this myth has been circulating for decades, even though I was not aware of that. I did not hear of this myth until, let's say, right around 2015, when the conscious community began gaining popularity. And people began starting to talk about all of the things that were hidden from our history and that were basically lies. And the rabbit hole in the conscious community goes so deep, whether it's about Malcolm X and him being Barack Obama's father, or whether it's about Malcolm Luther, whatever. So this website back in the day is claimed Beethoven was African. BeethovenWasAfrican.com is a website. They claim that basically, Beethoven was a Moor. He was associated with the Moors of North Africa, but he was from Bonn, Germany. So let's look at Beethoven's timeline and see, does any of these claims hold any accuracy, and we can find any connections to North Africa. So in 1767, Beethoven's parents were married. 1770, Beethoven was born. 1787, Beethoven's mother dies at the age of 40. 1792, his father passes away. And in 1793 is when Beethoven began studying the piano with Joseph Haydn, who was another popular musician at that time. Okay? So moving on, in 1795, with collaboration with others, Beethoven composes Opus 1. In 1800, he composes Symphony No. 1, which is one of his biggest hits. In 1801, he created a ballet called The Creatures of Prometheus. His hearing starts to dwindle at this time. 1811, Beethoven is nearly completely deaf but continues to play on. 1826, the 14th String Quartet, which is his final piece, was composed. Now, I was interested in actually seeing commissioned pictures, which are pictures that the family sent for someone to have drawn of them so that they can know their likeness. And so I found it interesting that all of these commissioned pictures, first of all, the consistency within the images, he always looked the same. Second of all, being that these were commissioned paintings, and I did managed to find the names of some of them, but obviously these were paintings that were paid for by Beethoven's parents. Okay, so these are his parents, the first two. Maybe they look like Moors to you. Okay, so be it. This is the painting of him at 13 years old. Unknown Arthur, some German master. This is the painting of Beethoven as a young man, drawn by Carl Riedel. And this was in that's Carl Riedel's life, but this is Carl Riedel drawing him in 1789. And then in 1803, Beethoven was painted by Christian Horneman. So he was a young man at that time, I'm guessing maybe in his 20s. And then in 1815, which is close to one of the latest pictures that he took, and it was painted by Joseph Mayer. And this was obviously when he was older. And so I'm not really sure what facts are being used to substantiate the fact that Beethoven was actually black. Also, what black man at this time period would have been able to be so famous and it have been a secret that he was a black man in Germany in the 1800s. Like, sometimes logic has to come into play here, family. It just doesn't make sense. There's no amount of lies in the world that could whitewash someone that famous during that time period. Now, if we were talking about someone from antiquity, then quite naturally it would be easier to say that they were a different race when you couldn't prove it. However, when it comes to Beethoven, I'm sorry, but the lies need to stop. People tried to use his face mask, the mask that he got molded of his face when he died, as proof that he was black because it was black, but the mask was black because the materials that were used were black, not because he was black. Not to mention the face mask, or the death mask rather, of Ludwig Beethoven looks just like him. Number 4, having a period is not normal. You know what? When this bullshit first came on the scene, I was like, are these people joking? So this guy Yada, if you take information from him, then maybe you should just take information from the back of the cereal box, because it's probably just as relevant. Vegans as well. I love you, my vegans. I've been vegan myself, so no shade to vegans, but the shit has to stop. What the fuck is menstruation? Menstruation is a process when a woman discharges blood and other materials from the lining of her uterus at intervals of about 1 lunar month, which means once a month we bleed. Okay? Period. So recent claims regarding menstruation have been very interesting, to say the least. To say the least, family. I don't know. I think that people should really stop listening to pseudoscientists who basically are experimenting with their children and with themselves. But nevertheless, let's go on. Let's kick into this list. So, no animals in the wild have a menstrual cycle. Wrong. There are animals in the wild that have menstrual cycles. 10 primate species, elephant shrews, 4 species of bats, and the spiny mouse. Okay? Secondly, eating healthy or clean will reduce your period length and possibly end your cycle. Let me say this. We all know that eating healthy does overall make your body healthy. It can. I say it can shorten the lengthening of your period. However, will it end your period completely? I would say no. Even if your period, say it was to stop, you're still going to have intermittent bleeding. You're still going to have bleeding at times. Secondly, you do not need a period to get pregnant. Here's the thing. Technically, you don't need a period to get pregnant, right? So a little girl can get pregnant and she's never had her period yet. However, the child is ovulating, which means that her ovaries are working fine. If she's ovulating, she's going to have a period soon. If we're talking about a grown woman, she's had a period at some time in her life. Moving on. The healthier the woman is, the more intelligent the child will be. So allegedly, if your periods are better, then you'll be healthier overall and your child will be more intelligent. Don't get me wrong, intelligence is somewhat linked to health. However, we do know crack moms who gave birth to intelligent kids, so that's a bunch of bullshit. Women get periods because they have toxic wombs. Women have periods because it's necessary to release the endometrium. That's why we have periods, my loves. So female mammals, all female mammals, they have some type of cycle. We have menstruation cycles. Other female mammals have estrous cycles, which is that their uterus reabsorbs the endometrium, which is also known as covert menstruation, okay? So basically every female animal, period, on this planet has some sort of menstruation or estuation, okay? If you're not having a period, there's probably something going on. It could be amenorrhea. Amenorrhea is the absence of menstruation. One or more missed menstrual cycles. Women who have missed at least 3 need to go see a doctor. Reasons you may not be getting it. Maybe you're pregnant. Maybe you're breastfeeding. Maybe you're taking medication. Maybe you're an athlete. Maybe you're stressed as fuck. Maybe something's wrong with your ovaries. Maybe you're old as hell and entering menopause. Or maybe it's the birth control that you're taking. The most common causes of not having a period, of course, is pregnancy. But other causes, of course, could be reproductive issues, queens. So if you're not having a regular period, which means the regular breaking down of the lining of your endometrium, you need that, ladies. That's how we know that we're healthy. And also that's how we know that we're still able to have children. So once this process is no longer there, you're no longer able to have children. And it's really that simple. But to tell women that having a period is not normal or not natural is beyond insane. Not to mention, where is this new theory coming from? Specifically, that periods are unnatural. Who says that women haven't always had periods? Is this something new for the women of today? Is this something new that did women back in antiquity? Did they not have menstruation? Dear God, what made them so special? Why did they not have menstruation? Hadn't Eve eaten the apple by then? I mean, she ate the goddamn apple by then. Weren't women all screwed up by then? Could this be the reason? I'm just saying, family. But here are some of the symptoms. The main sign of amenorrhea is the absence of menstrual periods, I've stated already. Depending on the cause, you might experience certain signs or symptoms along with the absence of your period, such as milky nipple discharge, hair loss, headache, and vision changes. So are we to guess that all of these things are normal? However, having a menstruation, which is a part of the female development, we should believe it's not normal. Oh, look at this. Females in antiquity actually did have fucking periods. So the queens in Egypt, for whatever reason, actually you see that they made the mode for what the tampons used to look like, but they were made out of wood. Women also use sheep's wool, they use moss, they use sand wrapped in leaves or paper, and they also use cotton. So women they've kind of figured it out for a long time, different things that work. And interestingly enough, the cotton, along with the wooden tampon shape, will give us the tampons that we have today. So queens have always had periods. As far as history have proven, we have always menstruated. Okay? Now, last myth on the list. This has got to be one that I can't believe people are still talking about. I know it was like really popular like in the 90s, but apparently everything in the conscious community is, I don't know, it's popular. But they say that microwaves are not healthy, they cause cancer, and that they can fuck up the nutrients in food. So what are microwaves and how exactly are they used? Microwaves are a form of electromagnetic radiation, that is. They are waves of electrical and magnetic energy moving together through space. Electromagnetic radiation spans a broad spectrum from very long radio waves to very short gamma rays. Okay? Simple enough. Microwaves are used to detect speeding cars and to send telephone and television communications. Industry uses microwaves to dry and cure plywood, to cure rubber and resins, to raise bread and donuts, and to cook potato chips. The most common consumer use of microwave energy is in microwave ovens. Microwaves have three characteristics that allow them to be used in cooking. They are reflected by metal, they pass through the glass, paper, plastic, and similar materials, and they are absorbed by foods. Okay, so these are various ways in which microwaves are used. I think that we're all pretty much familiar with the most common use for the microwave. But the microwave, in essence, it's just a mini oven, family. And if our ovens don't emit radiation, then why would the microwave? So, cooking with microwaves. What is cooking with microwaves like? Microwaves are produced inside the oven by an electron tube called a magnetron. The microwaves are reflected within the metal interior of the oven, where they are absorbed by food. Microwaves cause water molecules in food to vibrate, producing heat that cooks the food. That's why foods that are high in water content, like fresh vegetables, can be cooked more quickly than other foods. The microwave energy is changed to heat as it is absorbed by food and does not make food radioactive or contaminated, family. Although heat is produced directly in the food, microwave ovens do not cook food from the inside out. When thick foods are cooked, the outer layers are heated and cooked primarily by microwaves, while the inside is cooked mainly by the conduction of heat from the hot outer layers. Microwave cooking can be more energy efficient as well than conventional cooking because foods cook faster and the energy heats only the food, not the whole oven compartment. Microwave cooking does not reduce the nutritional value of foods any more than conventional cooking. In fact, foods cooked in a microwave oven may keep more of their vitamins and minerals because microwave ovens can cook more quickly and without adding water. Because in case you don't know, when you boil foods, you actually remove quite a bit of the nutrients, especially when it comes to vegetables, which I actually just learned that recently. I did not know that. So the myth, basically, which is not true, eating microwave food can cause cancer. A microwave warms up food by heating the water content in the food. This means that the food, once again, is not radioactive. It will not increase your risk of cancer. Alrighty, I hope we all learned something. This has been your girl, Lelelapoete Speaks. Thank you all for joining me today on another edition of 5 Myths Debunked. I'm sorry it's taken me a long time to put out this video. Life has been kind of fucking crazy, but I'm back at my shit. I promise I will have a Myths Debunked video every other week, and I'm also going to start kicking off the Memes Debunked. So if I don't have a Myths Debunked that week, it will be a Memes Debunked video. If you have any memes that you want debunked, send them to your girl at Lelelapoete Speaks on Instagram or at Alima Njie on Facebook. You can find all of my information down below in the description box. Peace and love. I'm out.